Welcome to an introduction to using MINITAB. First, let's take a look at the MINITAB environment. Now, this is MINITAB for Windows. If you look up top here is your sessions, is your drop-down commands for MINITAB. Up here is your sessions window. If I left click into it, you note that the color turns a little darker to let me know that I'm in the sessions window. And these drop-down commands change when I go in there. So if I go into editor, I can see something like enable commands, which enables me to actually do programming in MINITAB. If I left click into what's called the worksheet, note that it turned a darker blue. Look at the drop-down commands change because now I'm working in the worksheet. So there's different environments in MINITAB. In the sessions window, as I said, you could actually do programming. Our results from certain drop-down commands will appear there, and also our graphs will appear somewhat in there, but we can copy and paste graphs as well as results in the sessions window, but it's done just a little bit different. So we're going to go through all of that. So the first thing I want you to note is that in my worksheet, I have two different types of data. I've got blood type, which is a categorical variable. Then I have what are 3 different states and the number of tornadoes for each of the years that you see here. So Oklahoma in the year 1990 had 30 tornadoes. Kansas had 88. Nebraska had 88. That's what that data set would be. Now that's discrete data, and it wouldn't be categorical. It's quantitative. So we're going to work with these in MINITAB, how we would work with these different data sets, just to get an idea of how MINITAB works and the idea of having different data sets in our worksheet. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make a pie chart of the blood type. So I go into graphs and I go to pie chart. Now it's time to pick my data and have MINITAB. It doesn't know which one of these columns or if I want to input the data. So in here, these are unique counts. So we have the chart counts of unique values. We want to keep that there. And what I would do is now I have to say which one of these columns. So I left click, I take my mouse and I left click into categorical variables, and what will appear is all the different columns that have data in it. Well, I want blood type. So I go to blood type and I double left click into blood type. Now I'm ready to see what this graph will look like. The MINITAB default graph. So I hit OK, and out will appear the pie chart for blood type, and I can move it around and do things with it. Now, the first thing is that we always want to make more descriptive titles. So we can change the title to whatever we want. So I'm going to left click on this title, and I'm going to say distribution of blood type for sample of 50. Now, another nice thing that we like to do with pie charts is to put the labels and the percentages right by the slice labels. Makes it for an easy read. Of course, they can see it there, but they still won't see the percentages. So how do I add those? Well, if I right-click on my mouse and I go to Add, I can add my slice labels and I can add the category name. I could do the frequency or the number of different patients that had the particular blood type, but generally I like to see percentages. So I'm going to hit percentages. I hit OK. And now I have a really nice pie chart. Now, things that you can do with this pie chart, which are really nice, is in MINITAB for Windows, we can change the color of the slices if we so desire to make it more colorful or make it more meaningful. And what you have to do is you have to make sure you grab the particular slice that you want. So I double left clicked into there until I saw my little squares just around that pie piece. And I can go into here and I'm going to double left click, and it's going to bring me into edit mode. So if I want to custom, as far as I could add grid lines into that slice, I could change the color of that to any color that I like, hit OK, and now I've made that piece stand out. And I could do that for every piece of the pie. Any piece of the pie, I can say I can customize and change the color to whatever it is that I would like. So let's say I want to make that one blue. So I could change all the colors or anything that I'd like. I can keep my ledger here or take that out. I can make subtitles in here. If I add that, I could do subtitles or footnotes. You can add many features onto your graph. Now, if I want to copy and paste this graph into a Word document, I would right-click into it and just hit Copy Graph. Or I could have right-clicked and just done Control-C on my computer, same thing. And I could go into a Word document. I could just paste it. And I'd have my graph in that particular Word document. And once it's in the Word document, things that if MINITAB's on my, well, if it's in the Word document, I can left click into it and just change the sizing. If MINITAB is on my computer, I can actually change titles. So I could go in here and change the title if I wanted to, but you would have to have MINITAB, the correct version, on your computer, but you could go right in there and again change the title. And something I didn't mention earlier, with the title I could change the color, I could change the font, if I wanted it italics or underlined or bold or not bold, and the sizing of it. Many things I could change. So you can really customize your graphs. Also, in here, I can actually change, if I wanted to change the title to something more descriptive, I could also do that. I have to grab the one particular, and I can go in there and say A, and change that to blood type, you know, whatever. You have to be careful. You don't want your labels to be too much or to overwhelm your graph, but you can change each of these also. You can also change into this ledger a particular thing. So I could change that to A, blood type, you know, whatever you'd want to write in there. So many different features in here. You need to get in there and kind of play around with it to see. Now I'm going to show you this same thing in MINITAB Express. Now I do want to mention that I am in a Windows environment, so mine might look a little different than yours if you should have a Mac, but MINITAB Express is made for Macs because MINITAB 16 is not compatible unless you partition your hard drive so that it can run Windows operations or a software. But this will give you a good idea of the power of Express. They have added many features because this is new. MINITAB has made this for Macs, and it's relatively new software, and they keep adding to its power. So let's do the graphics here. So in here, I'm going to now do a pie chart, and it's counts of unique values. So you can see it's pretty much the same, just a tad bit different. So if I've got my cursor in there, I'm going to choose blood type, hit OK, and it's going to give me a graph. And I can also change and put labels on here. If I left click into my graph, I get these symbols in here. Now this right here will help me change the layout of my graph. So I could just change where the different pie pieces are for this particular case. If I hit the plus, this is where I can add my slice labels. So if I wanted to add the category name as well as the percents, I could do that. The only thing I can't do is I can't get in here and change the colors yet. I'm sure probably in the next iteration of MINITAB I might be able to, but you just can't change the colors. I can change the title. If I double left click into here, I can change the colors in here, but once again I can't change the color or the size or the bold or italics. And again, that could change in a couple of months. They keep adding. It's wonderful how much they've added to it. There'll be a little bit of change of features, but not much. And so I can get in here and copy the graph and paste it just like I did in MINITAB 16. So back to MINITAB for Windows, we're going to look quickly how to do a bar graph. It's going to be very similar to the pie chart. Counts of unique values. I want a nice simple bar graph. because I don't have two data sets that I'm doing. I want to do for the blood type. Since my cursor is already blinking in there, I can just choose the variable. I hit OK. This is MINITAB's default, which has some problems. Once again, I can change the title just like I did before. I can change the color of the bars by grabbing one of the bars. I double left click in there and I can change the color to make it more colorful or whatever it is that I want to do. I can add some things to the graph. So in here, if I wanted to add grid lines so it makes it easier to read, I could do that. I can change how this is. If I don't want it to be every 5, I could do it every 10. So I could go in here and I could change. I left clicked onto my y-axis and I can change the position of the ticks. Instead of being every 5, I could do it every 10. And do that. Very much customize this. I can change in here. You can edit or change attributes also on your x-axis. Something else I can do, which is very nice, is if I right-click into my bar graph, I can look at graph options, and I can now not have a frequency distribution, but a percent frequency bar graph. The percent frequency table I can turn into a percent bar graph to show y as a percent. If I click that and hit OK, you're going to see that it's going to say percent, and that these numbers aren't just numbers, but they're percentages. And it would be good to change the tick marks, obviously. So that you see all the numbers represented. And again, you can change that to anything you like. I can change my axes titles also. So I could say, so much customization that can happen in these graphs. And again, you just copy the graph and then you can put it into your Word document just like we did with the pie chart. So this is part 1 of our introduction into MINITAB. Thanks for watching.